What if discomfort is the best compass we can have? For me, this kind of idea has been like kind of floating around for a while, just like in the back of my mind. And just when I'm doing uncomfortable things, and especially because obviously right now, with obviously starting this podcast and other things like that, it's an uncomfortable situation. It's something which isn't kind of like normal for me to do. And and there's obviously a lot of different kind of areas that I'm not like 100% with, and obviously talking to the camera and yeah, coming up with video ideas and stuff like that. It's not the most kind of like normal thing for me to be able to obviously do. And so yes, I thought it'd be a great topic to kind of be able to talk about and just be able to kind of like have a conversation with you guys about. Um, it's not going to be like super structured, kind of just going to be like a free kind of like flowing conversation, and just where I kind of like have a conversation about my thoughts. And yeah, so if you guys have any kind of ideas about this, and then drop them in the comments too, because that'd be great. Um, but yeah, I kind of want to talk about how weird it feels to kind of lean into discomfort, because obviously that's not like a very like natural thing for us to want to do at the start, if that makes sense. Like it's not normal for us to kind of want to lean into the discomfort. But for me, I feel like since I've been doing it, it's been a very like kind of beneficial thing. Um, so sometimes we might have like uncomfortable kind of situations, like starting a new hobby or like stuff like that, or even maybe we want to start a new hobby, or we want to go to the gym and we want to go for a run, or we want to try this new kind of thing that we haven't like done before. But because it's uncomfortable, we kind of like fight that. For me, like that never has like kind of worked out well. I feel like it's always been beneficial when I put myself in those kind of difficult situations. And then you come to the other side of it and you're like, this is nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be. Even if in the moment it is uncomfortable, it's sitting with that discomfort and not like trying to get rid of it, because I know like a lot of the time these days, it's kind of like programmed into us to kind of run away from that discomfort, to stay within what feels kind of comfortable. Like we have a comfortable job, we have a comfortable life, like we can kind of do things that keep us in that kind of comfortable state. And we have no real need to kind of step outside it. But as you take like little small steps outside it, you begin to realize that like, oh, I get more out of this than negative, if that makes sense. Like I get more positive than negative out of this. And most of the time it's nowhere near as like uncomfortable as it feels. Um, which doesn't really like make sense at the start, because you're kind of thinking it's like obviously discomfort and then there's comfort, and their opposite. Obviously comfort is like nice and discomfort is obviously like negative and not a good thing. But truly, yes, in the moment that might be the case. Like in the moment comfort might feel amazing, and but after, in the future, if you're just living for comfort, in comfort, then it's not going to be the best feeling. Like it's not going to get you where you need to be, or you're going to fall behind in life. And so really you've got the positive in the moment, but then the negative in the future. And then it's kind of like the opposite with discomfort, where it's like, it's not super nice in the moment, And then in the kind of future, it can actually be super beneficial. Like I'm going to the gym, I'm lifting weights, and in the moment, that's not nice for me to kind of experience. But in the future, it means I'm much healthier and my muscles are larger, like aesthetically, it's nice, but also in health wise, I feel so much better in myself. Um, and that is the difference, I think. I think that's where our society kind of gets it wrong and where we've kind of been led astray is that we can't, like, in our brain, I guess, like our animal kind of brain from like centuries ago, and it still sees like, oh, if we don't take hold of this, how comfortable this is, it's going to leave us because probably in the past it has. And but these days, obviously, we have no shortage of comfortable situations. Like you can spend all day being comfortable. You don't really have to get out of that. So I think setting time aside for that is beneficial. And that's not even meaning like you should just be fully in discomfort all the time. You should like not enjoy the present time. And that's not true. I don't agree with that. But I think sprinkling in times of discomfort, and it can be short amounts, but even those like small kind of short bursts of discomfort grow you as a human being. And a lot of the time it's more than we even like ever realize. Um, but what happens if the things that make us uncomfortable are actually pointing us towards something important? And that is 100% true in my life. Maybe like you have like a argument with your partner, and that situation to have a conversation would be uncomfortable. Maybe it's not even an argument. Maybe it's you just want to talk to them about something and it's uncomfortable. So being able to like actually do that is a difficult situation and not something that a lot of us have had that training to be able to do. Maybe we've been brought up in dysfunctional kind of households. But once you're able to kind of like open up to other people and sit in that discomfort of what maybe you feel at the start, I feel like your relationships start to like blossom intensely. And like you can maybe you have like a conversation with a friend and like a deeper conversation. Maybe you're opening up about yourself, and being able to truly do that and sit in that discomfort is actually like one of the biggest things for improving your life, I believe. I think that truly is it. Being able to have uncomfortable conversations, because most of the time it's nowhere near as bad as you think. Like it's like when you meet someone new and it's a bit awkward at first, maybe like, or maybe you're perceiving it to be awkward, or maybe you're even, before you've even met someone new, you're thinking, oh, if it's going to be awkward when I meet that person. So obviously, but then you get to that situation and you've started talking to them, you've been like there for like a couple minutes, and you realize that actually like this is nowhere near as awkward as it has to be, and it's not uncomfortable. And even if it is uncomfortable, you maybe make a new friend out of that, or you have conversation which you really like kind of enjoy, and maybe you don't even see them anymore after that, or you never see them again, but you've had like an encounter which maybe brought you some interesting, or brought to light some new interesting things about yourself. And for me, that's where it's really useful. I think for you guys, that'd be useful too. And I think sometimes we do just sit within the same social groups and stuff just because we think it's where we're most safe. I think because we do tie safety to being comfortable, which I don't believe truly they overlap, because I think you can be in an uncomfortable situation, but you can still be safe. It's like when I'm saying to you, yes, put yourself in some uncomfortable situations, lean into that discomfort. I'm not saying to put yourself in situations that are really dangerous, because that wouldn't be good either. Like, that you're not going to get anything out of that if you're in a really dangerous situation, and it's just not safe for you anyway. But you can put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable but safe, and your growth comes from that. Like, your growth comes from situations like that, where maybe you wouldn't have put yourself in that situation because your brain's telling you, giving you that fear, saying, no, stay here. And when really, on the other side of that is something you can kind of learn and gain and get out of it. That's just truly what I believe. But yes, like I've had it, there's so many times since starting this podcast where I doubt my own voice, or I question, like, can I do this and stuff like that. And it still happens right now. And I'm only a few episodes in. And what I tell myself, I try to reframe it, because at the end of the day, I'm getting something out of this. Like, I'm learning new skills. I'm being in a situation that is not comfortable for me. I'm growing from that, and it only gets easier each time. So say, like, you wanted to learn how to ride a bike. Like, say you're 20 years old, you haven't learned how to ride your bike. It would be uncomfortable to ride it in that moment. It might even be like very difficult to a point where you can't even ride that bike. But if you were to kind of ride that bike each day, and it's uncomfortable, you could slowly ease into it, and then at one point you would get like something out of it, because you've learned how to ride a bike, and after that you know that you can ride this bike, and you're getting different kind of, like, what am I trying to say? So if you were to ride that bike every day and you learn to ride a bike, yes, it's scary, yes, it's uncomfortable, but now you've learned how to ride that bike, and it's not as uncomfortable, and it's nowhere near as scary. And then you have some of the nicest, like, kind of beautiful kind of bike rides that you've ever experienced, because you wouldn't have experienced that prior. And now you've got new experiences, and you don't even remember how uncomfortable it was when you first started riding that bike. So for me, yes, the discomfort in the moment is bad, and like I wouldn't say bad, but it's uncomfortable, and that can sometimes win against you. You can say, oh, maybe I'm just not made for this, but truly it's not that at all. It's that uncomfortable situations are mostly uncomfortable because we haven't been in them, or because they get the best out of us. They make us grow. They make us question things about ourselves, which maybe we wouldn't have questioned if we didn't put ourselves within that situation. And that's where I feel like we have to kind of like push ourselves into those situations, and where I'm kind of like learning more about myself, even just speaking out loud, because there's so many other times, or so many times in my life, where I've not pushed myself because it felt uncomfortable. And now I'm like, okay, if I could go back to those situations, if I could push myself in those situations, what would I gain from them? And if you see it in that way, what can I learn from you? What can I learn from that person? It's not transactional. It's just a good framework for kind of picking up something that maybe you wouldn't have kept on going with if you were just focusing on being comfortable. I don't think that should be our main goal. I think our main goal should be to lean in to this discomfort, and to grow, and to learn more about ourselves. I think that's just, if you're living life on like this earth, surely we should be trying to like learn as much about ourselves and grow as much as we can. And it's the same about like if I was to want to become like a public speaker or something along those lines. If I wanted to become a public speaker, I would have to basically learn how to speak very well in front of individuals. And maybe like the thing that I really want to do is like be able to tell my story and to be able to kind of get ideas over to other individuals. But I have to learn how to speak publicly, because that is the kind of like the way to do it. Like you obviously, if you want to become a public speaker, you need to put yourself in those uncomfortable conversations. And then you realize actually I'm not as bad and I can grow from this. So I guess there's like a lot of kind of different examples of putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, because I guess we all have like a different threshold. Like we all have like a different kind of like idea of what we think is uncomfortable. Like I might be like a UFC fighter and I find fighting super comfortable, but someone who isn't in that situation or hasn't had that past would find that really uncomfortable. And so I guess it's kind of picking and choosing and knowing truly deep down what you want, and see what's calling you, because we all have something that's calling us. Like this podcast was calling me for ages. And then I finally listen and I pick up the phone and I'm like, hello, yes, like I'm going to do this. Which I think, yeah, it's beneficial. Listen to your thoughts. And I also have like one kind of overarching question, which when prepping for this podcast, I was kind of like asking myself. And I think it would also be good to kind of flip that question and ask you too. And so I'll answer. And then if you want to answer in the comments too. And if discomfort is a compass, where is it pointing you? And for me, if discomfort is a compass, I truly feel like it's pointing me towards learning more about myself through difficult situations, if that makes sense. Like the more I put myself in difficult situations, maybe situations where I feel really out of my depth, or maybe I've never done anything like that before, or maybe it makes me aggravated, or it brings up certain emotions which in a comfortable situation I wouldn't even know. Like if I'm like, I feel like it's pointing the truth about myself to me through those. And that's why I feel like I have to fully trust it and delve into, is because the more we delve into it, the more we'll learn about ourselves. And even if you don't carry on doing that thing, you're going to learn something about yourself. And I don't think the journey is like wasted. I don't think that effort is wasted, even if it's trying new things which are uncomfortable and you never do them again. Or you'll one day find something through that discomfort that is enjoyable and that you're passionate about. And that's truly what I believe. But I do want to flip that question onto you. If discomfort is a compass, where is it pointing you? And please leave a comment with that if that's true. Like if you have a good question or like you have a good answer for that. And yeah. But I also have one thing that I've kind of been thinking about, and it's that maybe the goal isn't to chase comfort, but to trust the discomfort. So rather than chasing comfort and thinking, okay, I can go home and I can just kind of go on Instagram and scroll, or go on social media and take in all this kind of other media from other individuals, like that is like obviously just leaning into the discomfort. And how about we take like 30 minutes away from kind of scrolling on social media, and you do something that you've never done before, or you message a friend which you haven't spoken to for ages, or you even just go for a run, or it can be anything. It can literally be anything, because you just never truly know where it can kind of take you. But I know personally for me that I've only got good things out of that. I guess like another story for me, like a personal story about discomfort, which kind of benefited me in a really positive way, was kind of like introducing myself to more kind of individuals, and like trying to meet more friends and difficult kind of social kind of situations. For me, that's always been like a difficult part. Like I'm really kind of like awkward unless I kind of know you better, if that makes sense. Like once I start to kind of tear back those layers, and we both tear back our layers, then I'm less awkward. But at the start, it can feel like daunting. But I've begun to realize that like most people feel like that way, like completely. And they find it difficult that's like socializing just as much as you, especially in this day and age where we've kind of, a lot of us have been made antisocial. So I got like a lot of growth out of that, and it was super uncomfortable at the start. But then you realize that, yeah, like nobody else is like really as worried as you. And also, like, if they are, maybe they are as worried as you, but like it's nowhere near as bad as either of you think. And yeah, I just thought that'd be kind of good to put that in. But I would like you to kind of like reflect over this question, and just kind of reflect over what I've kind of said, and see if maybe there's ways that you can implement it into your week and kind of be happy about where you're going. Because what you don't want is to lose out on dreams because maybe you've just lent into the comfort a little bit too much, especially because these days we need like kind of balance. We need that balance of having comfort, but also like, so enjoying a family, like having a good time with friends, loving life, appreciating life, going for beautiful walks. But then you also need those times of pushing yourself and bettering yourself and seeing what you're capable of, because otherwise you're going to lose out on tons of potential which you have. And this is said as like a kind, like loving thing. Like, I just don't want any of you to go through that. And I personally don't want to go through it either. And so that's kind of why I'm bringing this topic to your attention, because maybe it's something that you haven't like truly thought about. And it's kind of at the forefront, like for me, for obvious reasons. But yeah, I'm really kind of enjoying this whole journey of creating different things and coming up with ideas. And if you guys are enjoying it too, and if you've watched this and you want to drop any comments about this kind of subject, or any information which maybe you think I've got wrong, or that you disagree with, or you agree with, like, this is an open space where we can have a real like kind of interesting conversations. And I don't know all the answers. Like, that's why I'm here. Like, I want to discover more about myself and more about other people. So yeah, like, I really appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any comments, drop it below. And yeah, see you later, guys. Have a good one.